guys, what's up? It's Sierra, me, doing my podcast, but in a visual kind of way. Okay, whatever. Let's just get started on what I was going to talk about. So, today's topic will be basically talking about single motherhood and how our society demonizes it so much, especially towards women of color, especially towards black women. So let's just get straight into this mess. So the main reason why I'm kind of talking about this right now, not only is because of like the story of the week or the highlight of the shade topic of the month is the baby and Danny Lay situation, but many times, okay, let me just say it. Many people have gone through similar situations. It just hasn't been out in the public. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because it's always been the trend of demonizing women, especially women of color, when it comes to single motherhood and just relationships in general. Like they've always been demonized. It's always their fault for staying and all these things. But like many of us are just accustomed to blaming the woman first and forgetting about the baby father, their responsibilities as a parent to the child. So let me just first start off by saying there are a couple classes that came into my head that I had to think through while I was doing like work in college, that I've had to try to understand these situations. So a couple classes that I think that relate to this topic would be definitely violence against women. I'll get to that in a second, why I choosing that class that I've want to talk about it through, and the sociology of minority families. So let me talk about those two classes briefly. So violence against women is the first one I want to talk about. It's a class that basically talks about the sociological perspective of women and men in relationships when it comes to gender-based violence, sexism, anything to do with like relationships, intimate relationships, and like families, and how women have been put on the back burner for everything, being victim blamed. Is that a good word to use? Victim blamed? Because oftentimes when a woman or like even a male has gone through gender-based violence and abuse, it's always their fault because they choose to stay, or the way they act, or the way they dressed, they asked for it type of scenario type thing. And that class basically touches why our society is quick to victim blame. Is that a good word? What's the word? It's not victim blaming, is it? Y'all let me know, because I think it's not the word. The word I'm trying to say is like, I think it is victim blaming. Because when you automatically blame the victim instead of blaming the perpetrator, that type of thing. That's what I was talking about. So yeah, I think I was right. But where I'm going with this part is, this situation, the baby and Danny Lay situation, what I'm talking about, I don't know if I've said it already. And just in general, a lot of relationships are like theirs or similar to theirs. They're not like many people have gone through similar what they've gone through, but it wasn't in the public. Many people in our society have gone through relationships where there's abuse happening, and then not only there's like abuse and violence happening, there's also a child involved sometimes. And it's really sad how we don't really take the perpetrators accountable, because the reason why, okay, so first of all, another thing from violence against women, we also address how there can be both sides to it, so there's not like a double standard, because a woman could be a perpetrator as well as the male, or they can both be doing it to each other. So the class just basically talks about how we address these things and just talk about these things, because we often ignore it and just ignore that part. We don't focus on those people getting help, those people getting the right things they need to be healthier. Instead, we glorify it too, in a way. Yeah, our society does glorify it, actually. Let me say that. And then the other class I was talking about was the sociology of minority families, which basically touches base on how our society demonizes families of color, specifically because of, racism and then sexism at the same time when it comes to talking about solely single black mothers. Because, first of all, it's basically an intersection if you think about it, because, being a black mother in America, especially a single black mother, is always being demonized, and they're always, it's like the ones that suffer the most in our society, because our society just pins black women down, and then it's like, oh, she should have known better and all these things, and black women need to be tough, and they're tough anyway. The whole scenario, it's so like that part. So that class basically touches base mostly on that, and how just black families in general are being put down all the time. But then it's always they're in poverty narrative, the drugs, violence, gangs narrative, but we never glorify, or we never put up black families, because they're not all black families grow up like that. You know what I'm saying? And even if they did, why does it have to be so demonized versus a white family that grows up around the same things? It's just like a stereotypical thing. So these two classes have come up to my head when it comes to the situation. First of all, when it comes to single motherhood and the baby daddy thing and the baby mama thing, people always automatically think it's like a black couple, young black couple with the baby and all that stuff. And we're so quick to talk shit about people in those situations, but we're not quick to help them. So let me talk about the woman's perspective first. So from my perspective, from what the videos I've seen, I've seen her situation. You guys know the name I'm talking about. I don't want to say it again. Well, I'll say it again. Daniela's perspective. Let's just talk about it in a way that she's just in a relationship, and a mom too. Oftentimes, when you're in love with a man, you're so in love with them that nothing, not even a person could tell you, not even the close person to you could tell you to get away from them. It's a mental health thing. It's like it's more than just she can't just leave. We all want to say to this person, male or female, hey, you need to leave that situation because, it's toxic. Many times we don't think about what did this person go through in their childhood or through their life for them to be with this person. Did this person have anything to do with how they grew up? It's the reason why they want to be with them. And then think about their circumstances as well. There's reasons why someone wants to be with someone, especially if they're so toxic to them. There's always a reason, whether it be childhood, trauma, anything like that. We don't address those things. We just ignore it. We just victim blame all the time. We automatically just victim blame without even considering, why does she stay? Or what about this person that makes her want to stay, And then we don't hold the perpetrators accountable. Well, that's another thing. So let me talk about that real quick. So when it comes to perpetrator, they're always very manipulative. Some of them could be really bad narcissists. They do these things just to lure the women in, and they don't want them to I would say, go away from them. They always need someone to validate their behavior. And whenever it's validated, they get more hyped up and they get worse. And the minute they don't get validated, they start to like get mean about it. If any of you have been in a relationship with someone or a friendship with someone who's a narcissist, or someone who's just plain on just horrible person, and they just gaslight you all the time, you would understand what I'm trying to say. For those of you who've been through that, let me know, or like put in your 2 cents with this, because it's always the same cycle. The woman and the man, vice versa, are madly in love with each other, but then things happen and somehow they just stay together because, circumstances of a baby, which always is never the right thing to do, to stay together because of the child, because, the child can sense things too. But aside from that, and then the perpetrator always tells something to the person's ear, how bad they are, and they're the reason why they're in this situation, nobody wants them and all that, but then they're quick to just, get mad and all these things. But then when it comes to the woman leaving, it's like, oh no, you're staying with me, please forgive me type shit. It's like, and then like when the woman or the male actually leaves them, it's like you're not shit to them anymore. They find the next person to ruin their life. So I hope I'm not running too much in circles, and I hope some of you guys understand what I'm talking about, especially those of you who went through this stuff personally. You probably have an idea of what I'm trying to say. It's always that kind of cycle, and then they find the next person to put all their egos and shit on, and their energy on. And so the next thing I guess I could just go on to is, how could, from learning from all these things, how could someone like her move on? And how could we, as outsiders of the situation, be helpful without just victim blaming and making the situation worse and just all these things? So this is how I see it from my perspective. So think about it like this. We live in a society where women are demonized, especially women of color, especially black women, especially single mothers. We demonize them so much because it's like, it's always a stereotypical thing. We always are like, you should have done this, you should have done that. But what about our society? What do we need to point out to fix? How about we stop stereotyping women and stop tearing women down and not building them, or build them up. Help them. They say it takes a village to take care of, the child, but where's the village if she needs one? You're not really a village if you're going to bring her down all the time, tell her what to do, and just be mean to her, you know what I'm saying? So we need to understand that just because she's having a hard time doesn't mean we have to give her a hard time. Does that make sense? Let the woman express their feelings. Let the male express his feelings. If they're crying about something they went through, just listen to them. Don't put in your 2 cents yet. Wait for them to actually ask you what to do, because many of us are so quick to tell them what to do. They probably already heard it before. Just let them talk, Especially when that other person is gaslighting them and telling them that they're crazy. Be that person to sit down with them and be like, you're not crazy. You have a right to feel these feelings. And you need to feel those feelings, because especially when there's a child involved, you can't just keep hiding these things from them anymore. You need to teach your child, as they grow up, that you stepped up even when the other person didn't, and you were able to make it out of it. Because being around toxic people is not what you should do. You should be around people that uplift you. You know what I'm saying? So from this perspective, we need to think about it like, how can we support the woman and hold the perpetrator accountable? So I would say, with holding the perpetrator accountable, we need to talk about how this shit started. Most of it can be from the mom. Most of it's probably from the mom. How about we go at the root, like, hey, the mom needs, or whoever is, what's the word, letting this behavior happen, needs to be held accountable as well. Why are we making these things okay? Why is it okay for him to say these things to the woman, making fun of the woman? Like, we need to have an understanding that you're the father or the mother of that child, and it takes two to tango. You need to have respect for the mom, especially the mom, because moms are always left with that sole responsibility of the child, and the dad can do whatever they want. They can grow legs and walk away. Moms can't. Moms are expected to take care of everything and be the homemaker and all these things, but the male, it's not all the way, like, it's not high. There's no high expectations for the male because dads cannot be there. Moms have to take two parenting roles, the mom and the dad. So if the dad doesn't want to be there, we got to cut them out. Just plain and simple. And we need to hold them accountable every time they try to come in or try to be someone that they're not. Try to be disrespectful. Try to be disrespectful and all these things. We need to stand up for our women that are suffering and taking care of our babies, waking up day and night and being like, you need to be there or not be there, and just stay away if you don't want to be there, because this woman has worked so hard for this child to be successful or to be alive, and you're over here just calling them the B word, the F word, all these things. It's like, no, we need to cut that out. The minute we cut these things, toxic shit out, we start uplifting the woman will start to feel confident about herself, will start to, forget about that guy and just, eventually, they'll both will learn, the woman will learn that she made the right decision by leaving the man and forgetting about the man, and that, But in order to prevent these situations in general, so let's say, but to prevent these situations from happening, we need to teach our children to what love is. Love isn't, allowing someone to hit you or tell you what to do in a demanding way, be controlling and all these things. Love is, it's equal. We both bring something to the table. We both are respectful towards each other. We both communicate all these things, and that, starting a family doesn't have to be something that's done right away. Take the time to get to know each other first. Take each other on a date. Get to have fun in your early ages, because once you start a family, it's going to be very, very hard to do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? I always get that a lot. I always get that saying a lot, because it's true, Not many of us have grown up with good role models. I have grown up with good role models that I live by, they taught me, what I should look out for, what flags are. But many of us don't have the luxury of having good role models in our lives. Like, maybe many of us have moms who have been through so much shit, like with men and all these things and abuse, and then it can be like a generational thing. But not many of us have that type of, like, role model, I mean, no one's perfect, If you are a single mom, it shouldn't mean that you should be demonized. You should be uplifted, There's nothing wrong. Like, there's choices and things that have been done, We need to support these women and support these children, If we want to be, like, pro-mom and pro-baby, we need to support both of them through their journey, We need to not, ignore one or the other. Does that make sense, y'all? But yeah. So I guess I'll end this episode right here. Let me know what y'all think when it comes to single motherhood. Single motherhood, especially within families of color, have always been demonized when it comes to race, sexism, even, I want to say heterosexism. Well, in terms of, like, Like, we normalize these things. Like, we normalize the man and woman, and how the male is like the powerhouse, the dog, the all these things that the male is, that they're all, it's okay for them to be sexualizing women and touching them a certain way. Does that make sense, y'all? It's just all these things that we need to consider when it comes to situations like the baby situation and the and Daddy Lay situation. You know, we need to think about from a sociological perspective and a psychological perspective as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so yeah, let me know what y'all think. This is my first visual podcast. I hope I did okay. I got dressed up kind of with this crazy ass shirt. Background is neutral. But yeah. I wanted to just talk about this briefly and talk about like my little standpoint, mostly because I've learned about these things and I went to college for these things. I was hoping to be one of those people that, like, a counselor or whatever, but I don't think I really want to be that. But things that I've learned that we should address when it comes to these situations is learning it from a social perspective as to why we automatically do shit and why we keep having these things like generational generational toxic traits, generational things, and then, you know. Yeah. So yeah, let me know what y'all think. And yeah, that's it for the podcast. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. I'm dead. Bye. That sounds so loud. Okay. Bye. Hey guys, it's me again, like a future version of me. But let me put in my little 2 cents about the DaBaby and Danny Lay situation, which was what I was going to talk about in the regular video. But I decided to not say anything, but I kind of forgot about it a little bit. Because I just watched this video, this girl named I Am a Hello, love that video, where she does talk about her little opinions about, or her own opinion about the DaBaby and Danny Lay situation. She said everything basically what I wanted to say, but I wanted to, you know, sum up that part because I did mention it in the last video. Anyway, when I saw that video on the Shade Room of, you know, basically DaBaby came out of her house and she's just frustrated with all the bullshit he's throwing at her, saying she's the side chick and all of that. She was just a certified side chick the whole time, blah, blah, blah. Paternity test, blah, 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 and all that. My head was thinking, was Yellowbone all he wanted? See, that song pissed me off because I remember when she put that song out. It's like, girl, no. Like, as someone, see, it just showed, like, that song is so stupid. Now, in the future, now rewind to the future. Do you see why he's a piece of shit now? Like, I know you were probably just in love and all that, but when you say things like that, that's so disrespectful towards, like black women. Like, why are you perpetuating or, like, glorifying colorism? Like, it just shows you that even when someone that looks like you, he wouldn't treat you any better. Like, you know what I'm saying, y'all? Like, now you made this whole song and then showed off this man like he's your husband, basically. And now he's saying that you're his certified side chick. He wants nothing to do with you. He's kicking you out of your house. Or his house. Yeah, his house. And basically disowning you at all costs and just forgetting about you. Throwing you in the trash. And I'm Hello, also, I hope I sang her name right, but also made a good point too. Turns out, you know, because he has a baby mother, or a previous child with his other baby mother, and they've been messing around the whole time too. So, and they've always been together, and they've always been just, you know, and she made that song just to be like, I'm better than her and all this stuff because I'm Yellowbone. Dumb. Some way, somehow, she still managed to be around him, and now she's pregnant now. See that, like, now you look so dumb having this song out, and then now you're pregnant by him, have a child by him. He don't want nothing to do with you, don't care nothing about you, don't give a shit about you. Maybe last month he said, I want to marry you and all this shit, but now all of a sudden you're not shit. So now you have to think to yourself, now, especially in the future, because think about this now. This is what my brain's starting to think now. Your child is half black and half she's like Dominican Latina woman. She's a Latina woman. So your baby is half black, and she's gonna see that you wrote a song glorifying your white. I don't like that song. See, when your daughter grows up, you need to teach her that you need to love yourself for who you are. Love your skin. Love your culture. And that there's men out there or toxic people out there that are going to treat you like shit. And you need to see them for who they are. And not be with them because of like, put your glasses on. You know, be aware. You know, you don't want your daughter going through the same thing. And that goes to people who are like the baby. Fuck y'all if you're like the baby. Let me stop. I didn't miss. Well, men who think like the baby, you need some help. That's what another point from the video. I'll link down that video that she had, because it literally said everything I wanted to say about the baby situation. But like, men like that need help. They need counseling. Whoever hurt you, someone hurt you for you to say shit like that to women and think that stuff like that to women is okay. Like you can't, like, he literally made her feel like she was the one, and now all of a sudden she's dirty. Like, and then like it's just, whole thing is embarrassing. A lot of people we know, or like who we're friends with, family members with, have gone through similar situations. Not with the yellow bone part, but the baby mama culture part. Like, you know, men ain't shit type stuff, and then not holding them accountable and having them do whatever they want to do and disrespecting the mom. And she also made a good point in the video where it's obvious that she's stressed out and having, you know, issues with her mental health. And he's over here making shit worse. It's like if you really are a good father, you would never disrespect the mom of the child, the one person that the child is with 24/7 no matter what. You know, have some respect for the mom. You know, y'all don't have to like each other or anything. Y'all don't have to be together, but like, have some respect for the woman that is waking up, doing everything for that child. You know, I don't get why men do that. Or like, even men who are single fathers, the moms disrespect the man. It's like they're doing the job you were supposed to do too. It's a 50-50 job, you know? Or like, no, it's 100% job. Both should be given 100%, honestly. But that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that situation, if y'all cared, you know. You know, the baby, men like the baby ain't shit. Don't think that just because you're this, that he's going to treat you any better. He's going to treat you the same. Okay? So let's just hope after this whole situation that she learns that she needs to just pick herself up and her daughter up and not go around that shit again. And give her support. Please give her support and kind words and all that stuff. We need to support the woman 100%. The man, we need to hold them accountable. Tell them that they need to step up and stop being disrespectful and take care of your daughter. Because if it was your daughter, what would you say? Roles reversed. Your daughter is dating someone and she got pregnant, and he's treating her the same way you treated your daughter's mother. If you're really for your daughter, would you let that happen? Then stop doing it. That's all I gotta say. So yeah.